Good evening, everyone. This is Shantae K. Shantizi. Welcome to my analysis today on Saturday, June 6, 2020. I hope you're having a good Saturday. I hope you got some sun, some vitamin D outside. This is quarantine style. Trying to make myself look presentable these days as I'm doing this in the spirit of quarantine. Hopefully, if it continues to go well, I probably will do it as a side thing. At night, sometimes it may be daily, sometimes it may be not, but until then it's going to be daily. So let's just kick right into gear. So, coronavirus is still on the rise. We're still in the midst of a pandemic, despite the other crisis that we are going through, which I'm going to explain about later. We are 1.9 million cases in. Exactly, I think it's let's see what the number is. It's 1,908,052 cases. That's a lot. In terms of fatalities, we are at 109,000 deaths in, which I'm not surprised that the death toll is going to be going up because cases be going up by 20,000 cases per day in different areas of the country besides New York state. Our fatality rate has gone down, but I'm going to get into that. And of course, there's no testing. So until there's testing, I'm always going to say there's no testing. But during Governor Andrew Cuomo's campaign, hospitalizations, new cases at the hospital, ICUs are down for the moment. 35 people have passed away from coronavirus. I believe this cases are going to go up within the next week or two. I won't be surprised due to the protests. However, upstate New York will also go into phase 2, and that includes mosques, temples, and churches, and it's only 25% occupancy. So my thing about this whole these folks, going to church and it's 25% occupancy is people will actually start going to church and it will start crowding and flooding instead of just watching the service virtually at home. I think if churches do open, they should only have deacons and trustees and everybody else just stay home. Or at least 2 deacons, 2 trustees, and 1 usher or church nurse and the pastor and possibly the musician. The church should not even be full. I think everybody should be watching virtually from home because we're still in the midst of a pandemic and people have protested. And so probably during the protests, and I'm not knocking anyone for protesting because I was invited to a protest today and a protest tomorrow, and I decided not to go because I have anemia. And I am not severely anemic, but I am mildly anemic. And so the walking for long periods of time, can make me dizzy. Then I get dehydrated. I get dizzy. And so my health, and then a lot of people's around, so my health is more important. So that's why I'm not protesting. But this is my form of activism. Is to share my knowledge of things I know. And then my background in business class and then in history classes, because I was a business major in school. And I was also doing my minor in history, but I was 1 class short, but I just graduated with my business degree. So there's a lot from the business aspect and a lot from the historical aspect that I know. So that's what I like to share. That's my form of activism and speaking out on these issues. So, yeah, so I believe that people in the churches should watch virtually and only like the 2 out of each clergy, especially the deacons and the trustees, 2 out of those clergies and 1 usher, 1 possible nurse, and then just the musician and of course the pastor, and that's it, in my opinion. Also, New York City will be reopening starting on Monday's phase 1, which is construction, manufacture, which they all have to wear a mask, and some stores with only 50% occupancy, I believe. Curbside pickup. Most likely people are going to go curbside pickup because people are not going to really go inside the stores unless they're that foolish to go into, because people know that the coronavirus is still real, and a lot of people in New York do not live by themselves. 65% of the people that pay rent, I don't know how much the percentage is, but most of them do live with somebody else. I'm very lucky to live alone in an affordable apartment program, but a lot of people are not. We know from this virus is now it's airborne, so it can live up in the air for 3 hours, which I knew it was airborne, but I didn't know it could live up in the air for 3 hours. The surfaces are less important, even though they're still important. So when somebody touch something and they touch other things, that can be. Also, children are affected. We know from the Wasaki virus. That's why a lot of kids are starting to wear masks. Thank God. Also, people can affect other people, and people can get reinfected, which is true because look at China. They had the second wave already. They're into their second wave. And our second wave is going to come in the fall, which is crazy because you don't know if you have coronavirus, a cold, the flu. You don't know which of those you will have. So that's why masks are important. I just got my renewable mask in the mail, and I'm going to get my other disposables, and I ordered another disposables that's supposed to be coming in July. So I'm going to be masked up. I can't afford to get sick. And my state, which is lucky, which is another thing, an executive order has been signed to ban price gouging in New York State. So I hope everybody's governors in other places will ban price gouging, because what I used to pay for a mask in Dollar Tree was $1. Now it's like $7 or $8. I saw one of the disposable masks like 20 for $15.99. That's price gouging. There was 100 masks for $34, almost $35 in the store today. Whoa. Excuse me. That is nuts. How much people are paying for a mask. That's crazy. So also into terms of that, in terms of now we're getting into also another layer, which is of this thing, which is protests, which my state legislator will be opening or declassifying disciplinary records of police officers, and that includes those in New York. In addition to that, they're going to be banning national chokeholds. So I think they're supposed to reconvene during this week. So hopefully something gets passed, because now New York State has a Democratic legislator, because upstate is mostly Republican. So the fact that now is the whole state legislature is Democratic, I believe things are going to get done, because people don't want to see this anymore. And I think the protesters have really helped. Besides, everybody is like crowding together. I think these protesters really did a number of things. And I hope there's some police reform in that, because that really needs to happen. And I know in my state, it's always an issue. The unions basically run everyone. And now, like, people are protesting crazy in New York, sitting inside in front of the mayor's mansion on the Upper East Side. What they should do is go to the SBA, which is in New York. It's the president of the police union. Go to his house, because he's the one that's stopping all the police reform. He actually defends guys who did chokeholds, like the one in Eric Garner and Anthony Pantaleo. The 4 guys that got acquitted for Amadou Diallo back in 1999, and the guys that got acquitted for Sean Bell's case. So, yeah. They should sit in front of his house. That's my opinion. But no one's not going to listen to my opinion. And also, lastly, my city is going to send the MTA workers. Hopefully, Chantel, they send the people in Massachusetts some PPE. 1 million PPE, including sanitizers and also disinfectant in cars. So that's from the governor. So away from coronavirus, now into the actual politics. So the protests have been going on in big cities. I'm pretty sure it's been going on in Boston, New York, Philly, DC, LA, Atlanta, Louisville, all the major cities, Chicago, all the major cities in the United States of America, to end police brutality and racial injustice. Also, the conversation of defunding the police, I totally agree. My state, I mean, especially in the city of New York, the NYPD has about $6 million for a budget. I think that's almost damn near more than the educational department in New York. And so, yeah, that thing needs to be defunded. And as for, like I said, as for the SBA president who is withholding back, that's the police association president, he needs to be fired. He has, tried to run the NYPD and run the commissioners and even run the mayor, and stopping the mayor at the time. As much as, de Blasio has been pissing me off lately, the one thing he did wanted to do was police reform, and he was basically stopped and criticized by the police union president. So that police union president need to go, along with the people that enable him. They need to go. Resign. Pat Lynch. That's his name. Patrick Lynch. So within that being said, in terms of defunding the police, the guys in Buffalo, they did get charged. I don't know what degree of assault they got, but it's they were charged, which is a good thing. I'm glad they were charged because they pushed down a 75-year-old man. I mean, he was a white man, but they pushed him down, and it was still wrong, and they all walked by, and 57 of the police did resign from that task force, but they still on the force, which I think it's totally wrong, because I think they all should be fired, in my opinion. Just saying. And as for the guys, I think in New York, I don't know if they were suspended, but I hope that the DA and the AG will work together to review those tapes and arrest half of those guys that mowed down those people in Flatbush, Brooklyn, and just to get all the other police officers that have been doing wrong shit for years. That's why when this 50A thing does get repealed, I can't wait. And I can't wait for the day that Patrick Lynch resigned from the SBA. That will be Christmas to everybody's ears, because he's probably one of the most hated men in New York, besides Donald Trump. So, moving along, George Floyd's memorial service today took place in North Carolina, which is his birth state, which he was born. The service was less people. It was private. Some people did social distance, but not too much social distancing, which I know Thursday's service was good, but I was kind of getting upset with the whole social distancing. The non-social distancing, because no one was in non-social distancing. And the part that really enraged me is like everybody was hugging each other and giving each other high fives, which I was like, we're still in the midst of a pandemic. What are you doing? You need to social distance. And they were told to social distance, but no one couldn't. It was no way for you to social distance in there. So today, I think they did some type of social distancing, but still, some people was holding each other and with no gloves. I'm like, you crazy people. So tomorrow, I believe the last of the funeral service will be at Texas, which is where he grew up. So that's where the service will be. And so for more information, I guess you could keep up with the news and watch the news to see more developments on Floyd's murderers being, going to trial. We all will be keeping tabs, and any information I will definitely let you know, but you guys can also watch the news. Unemployment, another topic. I covered the numbers for unemployment, but just to give you more numbers, so here we are with the unemployment numbers. So the job report came out on Thursday. 42 million Americans unemployed. Only 2.5 million jobs were gained out of the 20%, almost 21 million jobs that were lost in April. That's not even half. Half is like 10 million or 11 million. And we're not even close to even 3 million jobs being gained back. So a lot of jobs have been lost, and I'm pretty sure they're not coming back. And most of those jobs were in small businesses, and a lot of small businesses, especially minority owned, which is most small businesses are minority owned, have not received still any relief funding. So there are bills and legislations that have been drafted but have not been put on the floor due to maybe partisan stuff and maybe, the whole list of politics. Latinos rate, according to Reuters website, 17.6% of Latinos are unemployed. That's the unemployment number. African Americans' unemployment rate is at 16.8% and went up 1 percentage in a point, like a 0.1 percentage, and from April. Also, Asian Americans, it went up by 1%, 15%, and white people, it actually decreased. The unemployment rate actually decreased, of course. But the disparities, these are economic disparities. And like I said, a lot of minorities had small businesses. Some of them were owners. Some of them were co-partners, or some of them worked for small businesses and also retail stores. And retail, is not doing well. So, of course, there's a lot of economic disparities there. That's why the paycheck program is important, but also Save Your Streets, which is from Kamala Harris and Ayanna Pressley, drew up that legislation together, is important, and hopefully it gets on the House floor and gets to the Senate. If the Senate is the good people that they are on the red side, they will actually pass the legislation, because half of their constituents are poor. Just saying. So that's just where we are in the country. And hopefully there's more stimulus money, because there's going to be many relief bills. It has to be. We're still in a hole. We're damn near in a depression. Doesn't matter how many jobs gained. Half of these jobs are not coming back. So that's all. Candace Owens. I have discussed about Candace Owens. I have been getting a lot of backlash from my video on Twitter about Candace Owens, because, you're degrading a smart black woman. You're not listening to her point of view. I listened to Candace Owens many times, and I think she's a babbling idiot. I don't care what anybody says. She's a complete fool. Like, why would you say the things you say about black people? I mean, you have said things about black people saying they don't help anybody. Black policies in the Democrat Party doesn't help black people, which it actually does. And then you criticizing the NAACP, but they help you get money from the Stanford public schools in Connecticut. Like, you swindling them. Like, you're a grifter. You have this Blexit movement, but I look at the picture of Blexit, and it's nothing but white people in that picture. I can't even lie. It's the truth. And now, like, this whole video that circulated, what she said about George Floyd, saying he's used as a martyr and blah blah blah, like we praising him and worshiping him. Listen, the man was killed savagely. He was choked. His whole body was on the floor. Somebody had their knee on his neck. You can see the video. He didn't deserve to die like that. And bashing a deceased man shows what kind of person you are. Candace Owens is not a decent person. And I don't know if she'll ever will be, but right there shows her character. And when Maya Angelou said, when you see people for who they are, believe them. And that's the same for all them grifters, like Donald Trump and all them little savage Trumpers. Just saying. And in terms of the presidential elections, Joe Biden now has the delegate lead count for the presumptive nominee. So now that he is the presumptive nominee, and now he has clinched the nomination, and there's still more elections to go, he's more likely, he probably will possibly win. He needs the right VP candidate. He needs a black woman. He just don't need any other black woman. He needs really one, but there could be one possible one in my book. Maybe a Val Demings, maybe a Stacey Abrams, but like I said, my first choice is Kamala. It's always been Kamala because Kamala knows how to present herself as a leader. Kamala knows the situation was going on overseas or what's going on. She serves on the Intel Committee. She serves on the Judiciary Committee. Like, those you need. You need those, and you need someone that you don't need to hold a hand. They're there, day one. You don't have to tell them how to do their job. They have their team already. Kamala already has a team of people that she had from a campaign and even have in the Senate that she could probably move into the White House. So, or where she's at, where she's going to be living. So it makes possible sense. It makes perfect sense. And she's not showing off to get brownie points. She's doing her job. She's doing her job that she got elected to do. Just like some of them other senators. Some of them are doing their job as they were elected to do. And she's putting out legislation. Even though my senator is not really doing too much. I don't know if he's doing. He's the speaker of, not the speaker. He's the minority leader in the Senate. And so he's balding. You could tell he's stressed out because he got to fight Mitch McConnell every damn day. So listen, the Democrats are trying their best to do their job and trying to fight this Republican Party and this divisive ass leader in the White House. So that's what's going on. But in terms of VP selections, that's my choice. But as I end this short live, I can say to everybody, in the midst of this pandemic, in the midst of the civil unrest, we still have to be hopeful. We have to be vigilant. We have to be smart. And we got to know what's going on around us. Don't be paranoid, because there's times I'm paranoid, especially when I go outside. But I know that God will protect me, and God will protect me from sickness. God will protect me from any infections and any afflictions. And we have to remember who is present in our life. And maybe this happened for a reason, so that, in the midst of our troubles, we do gain victory at the end. And there is light at the end of the tunnel, and they will be. So just stay prayed up, stay hopeful, and stay positive, and do something fun in your house that requires social distancing because we still don't have a vaccine, and just to live your life, but always stay informed. That's the end. See you tomorrow.